Hello, good evening. Good evening. Oh my gosh, good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Wow, wow. It has been a while, like a real whole while. Good evening and Happy New Year to everyone. Those of you that are, I'm so sorry for starting late. I was having a little bit of I was having some issues, so I just needed to sort them out. Okay. So good evening, everyone. Happy New Year. Nice to see you guys again this new year. We thank God for a beautiful year. We thank God. We thank God for keeping us, for counting us worthy to be among the living to see the new year. I'm so excited this year, 2026. Good evening, Alice. Thank you. I'm so excited this new year to see you all. I'm so excited. This is like my first video. This is like my first live stream. This is like my first anything YouTube this year. That's just the truth. I've not been online, like literally, I've not been online. So I'm so happy and excited. So thank you guys. For those of you that are just joining us, you're welcome. For those of you that will still join us, you're welcome. So guys, in today's tutorial, let's just get started straight into the tutorial for today. So this is what we are going to learn how to cut. So I'm going to show you guys how to cut this under bust corset dress. So you can see it's a bust here actually. So that's what we're going to learn how to cut today. So it's a simple process. So I'm going to try as much as I can to look for a way to make it easy for you guys. Okay. Yes. So let me just readjust my camera. Okay. Let me put do not disturb on my what do you call it? Of course, Instagram. So let me just put that on. Okay. So guys, so now let's get started straight into our tutorial. So guys, so the first thing I'm going to do, so we're going to be drafting the front. So the front is like the most important part. So yes, so thank you. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to mark a line. So this line is going to serve as our shoulder line. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do from that shoulder line, so these are the measurements we are going to use. Our bust is going to be 36, our under bust is going to be 30, our waist is going to be 34. Excuse me, like seriously? Yeah, so sorry about that. So the next thing we're going to do, you're going to come down from this line, you're going to mark a bust, which we are going to make use of 10 inches. And then our under bust is going to be 13 inches. So you guys should note that you can see this is an under bust corset. Okay, so our under bust is 13. We're going to add extra 1 inch to it. So that 1 inch is what is going to take. You can see this cut here. So that's what is going to take that. And then we're going to mark our hem, which is 24 inches. Okay, so 18 inches is the waist, which is not going to be needed, but I'm just going to mark it anyway. Okay, so the next thing now we're going to connect all of those lines straight. So if you have questions, you can ask your questions on the comment section. So we're going to just connect all of these lines together like this. So that dress, by the way, the front is not going to be the back, sorry, the back is not going to be an under bust. The back is just going to be a normal straight bust here. So the next thing we want to do, we want to mark our shoulder line. You're going to come to this point like this, and then you're going to mark your shoulder line. For this, we're going to use 14 divided by 2, which is 7. And then we'll add just half inch. Actually, we actually don't need it, but for the sake of the draft, you need it. So the next thing from that point, you're going to come down by 1 inch, and then you're going to connect that 1 inch into the shoulder line, into the neckline area. And then the next thing you're going to take this, we want to mark our bust, our armhole measurement. So for the armhole, you're going to divide the bust circumference into 6 and then add 1.5. Okay. So for that, I'm going to have about 7 inches. I'll mark it there. And then I am going to connect that line, just connect it to that point, and then you're going to mark that. So that's going to serve as a chest line. So now this is going to be our chest line. This is our bust point line, our under bust, the waist, and then the hem or the basque. Okay. All right. So the next thing we want to do, we want to create a curve. So to create the curve, you're going to come to the midpoint. Just create it that way. I actually don't need it. So but let's place it there anyway. So the next thing we want to do, we want to take our dart intake. So for the dart intake, we're going to use our nipple to nipple measurement. So for this, the nipple to nipple is 8. So you divide it into 2. We're going to have just 4 inches. So that 4 inches, you're going to mark that 4 inches across all of those lines. Okay. So you're going to mark them, but you notice that we did not mark it on the chest line, which by the way, we are still going to extend. So just mark it that way. So the next thing we're going to do, so we want to use the shoulder dart pattern for this, okay? So since I want to use my shoulder dart pattern, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come to this point. I'm going to mark my neck width. So for the neck width, I'm going to use 3.5 inches, and then I'll just use 2 inches. The depth is actually not needed. Okay, so I'm just trying to mark it just to help me like a guide. Okay, so the next thing, you are going to come to this point and then you're going to check what you have. You divide that into 2, and then you're going to mark it here, and then you are going to connect that line like this. Just connect it, let it meet this point. Okay, the next thing we want to do, we want to take our under bust measurement. So you notice our under bust is a little bit long. Okay, I did not mark that line. Okay, so please note, remember I added an extra of 1 inch. I was not looking at it, the space was looking too big. Remember, this part that is the allowance. You understand? That's the cut allowance for the under bust. Very important. Thank you so much. All right, so the next thing, we're going to come to this point. We want to mark our dart for our curve. So for this, I'm going to use 2.5 inches. I'll mark it here, and then I am going to connect it to the bust point. This is our bust point, remember. So I'm going to connect that into the bust point like this. Okay, so I need to blend that. It's looking a little bit pointy. So the next thing, from that point, I'm going to come to this down part. I'll mark 2 inches. Remember, I used 2.5 inches here, but here I'm going to use 2 inches. So I'm just going to connect it. I'll just bring it down that way. Okay. The next thing we want to do now, we want to do our style line. Okay. So the style line, so that means neck line, like the bust part. Okay. Remember, this is the under bust. You understand? So that is where we're coming to. So I'm going to take my pencil. I want to use my pencil for this. Okay, so the next thing I am going to do, I'm going to come from this point. Remember, you can see, so when you have patterns like this, take a look at your pattern. You can see this is a shoulder. You understand? So you can use a strap, but if you notice, it's actually a strap, but you have to put that into consideration. Okay, so from here, I'm going to mark. Okay, so for high I want it to be, I could come down by 4 inches or 3.5 inches. So I'm using pencil just in case. So I'm going to mark, I'm going to curve that into that point. So from that point is where the next place I'm going to is this down part, which is my under bust, okay, which is here. Okay, so from that point I'm going to come to this point. I will mark half inch. So this is the half inch. So this is my half inch here. So I'm just going to use like broken lines. So the next thing I want to do, I want to check this part, these 2 parts, how wide do you want it, okay? So you have to put that into consideration. So that's around the chest part. So for this, I can just eyeball 2, you understand, or 1.5 inches, okay? So that will help. It's going to serve as a guide. So the next thing I want to do, I want to create that curve, that curve like that curve that you saw there. I'm going to create it, and then I'm going to terminate it here. This is the under bust point, okay? So I'm going to terminate it at that point. So you see what I was saying, measure it. Because if I don't measure it, now this automatically that part is going to be too wide, okay? So this will help me, you understand? So I'm just using my free hand first, and then I'm going to curve that into that point, okay? So once I've curved that into that point, the next thing I want to do, I want to tighten this part, okay? So in order for me to tighten that part, I'm going to come to this part. So this is definitely now, this is the line. So I'm going to come to this part. I'm going to mark half inch, okay? And then from that half inch, I'm going to create a curve. What kind of fly is this one? This knife. So from that point, I am just going to create a curve. Let the curve meet this part. Okay, so I'll use 0.75. Half inch is too small. So I'll just curve it in. So once I've curved that in, I'm going to take a look at it, make sure that what I have is okay. And then the next thing, I am going to create my curve for my under bust. Okay, so for the under bust curve, before I do that, let's finish up this curve. So this is really an advanced technique, please note. Okay, so for those of you that are beginners, this one pass una. Okay, this is not a beginner's style. So this is not a beginner's style. I'm just going to curve that in. And then the next thing I'm going to create that, remember that curve that I did? That's that tightening that I did here. I'm going to curve that into this and create a curve that way. So the next thing I want to do, I want to create that curve. So before then, I'm going to take here. Good evening. You guys should please drop your message. Once I come back, I'm going to respond, okay? All right. I don't want to lose focus yet. So now we're going to work with our measurement. Our bust is 36 divided by 4. We're going to have 9, okay? And then from that 9, remember our dart intake. So we're going to place that back into our pattern, okay? And then since this is a corset, is the back obviously has a lace, so I'm just going to add just like half inch to it, okay? And then I'm going to come to my under bust line, which is 30 at our half inch, or you can do 1 inch. So what you have here is, this line is the extra. So when we cut it, it's not going to get truncated. So that's why. And then we're going to come to the waist part, which is 34. So we'll divide that into 4. We're going to have 8.5, and then we're going to add. So on here, this part is 2 inches. And then you're going to add your stitching allowance. You're going to come to the down part also, which is your waist. Okay, so that same waist measurement, so you can extend that down, that waist. So most times I normally used to measure that part, you understand? This part now is the belly button, and then this part is that waist, which is like the top of your hip. Okay, so you are going to mark it. Sometimes people use their hip measurement, but most times what I normally do, I normally measure my client. Very important. So I'm just going to use my hip measurements now for that. And then I'll add my 2 inches and then add the dart intake, okay? So I normally used to measure that part when it comes to when I'm sewing people. I normally measure it, okay? So the next thing, I'm going to connect this like this, and then we are going to create this curve like this. We're just going to create this like this, okay? And then the next thing, we want to create that basque intake. So for the basque intake, you all know that's the simple like ABC these days. So this is our waist. This part is the part we are going to cut. So this is our waist part. So that's where we are going to create our basque into. So I'm just trying to check it. It's just a simple basque, okay? So no big deal of a basque. So you're just going to create that curve like this, okay? So now you've created that basque. So the next thing, we want to create an under bust effect. So to create that under bust effect, here is what we are going to do, okay? So we're going to come to this part. Remember that half inch that we marked, okay? So the next thing we're going to depend on where we want that cut to come from, okay? I'm going to show you. Can you see the way the curve came? Okay. So that curve, now we're going to curve that part like this. That's what we're going to just like create a curve, and that curve is going to go around this part like this. It is a simple process, okay? So just create a curve like this. Just create a curve. That is all you need. So just create that curve, let that curve. So you notice this part is going to get a little bit truncated. So we're going to add that back. It's going to get a little bit truncated. So I'm just going to mark it. If you notice, this is my actual under bust, but I did not mark it my actual under bust because when I cut, because if I put it here, if I cut it, it's going to get short. So that's why you notice I added an extra inches. So I'm just going to curve this, okay? And then once I curve it, I'd already curved it. So that's it. So this is the part where I made my curve. This part entered and I had a little bit of truncation here, okay? So now we are going to cut this part out. So most times, what I understand, I usually, yeah. So I actually don't need. So if you don't want to add, so you see this part now, you're going to cut it out like this, okay? Except if you want to add a yoke. So that is when you are going to need that part. So now the next thing I am going to do, I'm going to create my curve like this, okay? So and then I'm going to cut it. Can you see where I'm cutting it? Can you see? As I'm cutting it, you can see what I did. I did not cut. See that extra part that's supposed to get truncated? I added it as I was cutting it. So the next thing I want to do now, I want to cut this part out like this, okay? And then I'm going to cut this out like this. It's very important. And then I am going to cut this part out like this. So at the end of the day, you can see my pattern and then you can see the down part, okay? So that is all I need for my front piece, okay? So at the end of the day, you notice that the pattern was actually draped on top of it, so you can actually drape on it, okay? So that's that for the for our front pattern. So for the back, like I said, the back is just a normal back pattern. Our back is just a normal back pattern. So I'm going to bring out my, it's just a normal corset back. You actually don't, the back is not half cut, that is not an under bust, it's just a normal cut, okay? Thank you so much, Dorcas. God bless you. Mhm. Thank you. So this year, those of you that are our channel members, I am going to be doing special what do you call it, special tutorials for you guys. So you guys will have the opportunity to request the tutorial you want, and then we'll take our time and get the materials and then make the videos, okay? So the next thing, we're going to add it like this. We're going to mark our line just like the way we did our back, and then we're going to mark our under bust, our bust point, and then our under bust, and then our waist, okay? So the next thing we are going to do, we are going to mark, just connect our lines like this, okay? So we're going to connect our lines, and then the next thing we are going to do, we're going to mark our shoulder line this way. So our shoulder is 14, we'll mark it, and then I'll add just half inch, and then from this point I'm going to come down by 1 inch. It's just that I don't want to leave the back, because some of you will say, you did not show us how to cut the back. The back is just a normal, our normal corset back. So we're using our same 7 inches or 7.5 inches thereabouts that we used for our armhole for the front. So we'll mark it like this, and then we are going to connect it this one, just create our curve for the armhole, okay? So the next thing you want to do, you want to add your dart intake, just like our front piece. So we're using 8 inches divided by 2, which is 4 inches. So you just mark them across the lines, and then you connect it with your straight ruler this way. The next thing you want to do, you want to take out our dart. So for the dart, we're using just 2 inch, 1 inch of dart. So you take half inch to your right and then half inch to your left, and then you're going to go ahead and just connect them like this. Just take that out. So the next thing, we want to extend this line because we don't want to cut from here. So we want to actually cut the back piece. Most times I don't like my back piece to be too deep. You understand? So I normally cut it from the armhole side. So the next thing, you're just going to take your full body measurement, 36 divide by 4, which is 9, and then I'm going to add 2 inches, 1 inch for allowance, and then 1 inch for our dart intake. And then I'm going to come to the waist part, which is 30 divided by 4, 7.5. Add your 1 inch dart and then 1 inch stitching allowance. And then you're going to come to your waist, which is 34 divided by 4. We have 8.5. We add 1 inch dart and 1 inch stitching allowance. So now we're going to just join those lines together. And then the next thing, I want to snatch this. So for the front, I actually did not do the snatch, so I think I should just leave it so I don't get you guys confused. Okay, so this is our back piece. So the only thing, what you're just going to do, like I said, the back is normal. I don't want to cut this pattern, so you're just going to cut up that part, which is the yoke, and then you are going to have this as our back piece. Okay, so that is all we need for this pattern. Okay, so I just want to say thank you. So this year, our live streams, we are going to be doing our live streams in the evening. I'm not sure if I'm going to be coming out during the day. Let me just raise this so I can say this. Okay, let me raise it up. So I'm not really sure if I'm going to be doing the live streaming again. So my live stream we're going to be doing our live streaming in the evening. So some of the days, or if we have the parts that we're going to be stitching, you people know before, our live stream, evening live stream, used to be strictly pattern drafting. So this year I just decided to change some things. So like I said, daytime I'm not going to be doing live stream because I am extremely busy with other things right now. So I will do my live streams in the evening, and we're going to be having them on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, unfailingly by God's grace. So weekends, I don't know yet. So if there's if I skip any of the weekdays, I can take it to weekend and then we'll do it. But at least 4 times a week by God's grace, at least. And then when we have anything that we need to sew, we are going to be sewing in our evening live streams also. We'll do our pattern drafting, and then if we have maybe other small stitching, we can stitch. Okay, so I just want to say thank you, all of you that believed in me, that are following me. Dorcas, thank you so much for becoming a member of our community. Thank you so much. Thank you, member of the channel. All of you, those of you that have not joined, please join. Just look for the link, join and become a member of our of this channel. So the reason for the membership of this channel is just for you guys to like use it to like support me, no matter how much is, even I think the least amount is like, I think 1.5 or something. So just look for it and just join, just like for you, like a way of you guys giving back to the channel. So that's all. Okay, and that contribution you are giving is YouTube, you are giving it to, so not to me. You understand? So later, maybe after everything, YouTube will just like sort it out and then pay us what belongs to us. Okay, so thank you so much. God bless you all. I'll see you guys tomorrow, failingly. God bless you.